has been a very special occasion for me on many counts. I don't know about this, even the people on the dais, because they have been my friends and I've had the opportunity of knowing them for more than 2 decades. Anyway, dear Vinay Hegde, Dr. Sridhar Shetty, Chancellor Shetty, and Amarashri Shetty, and Muditaya Ramananda Shetty, and my friends sitting in the front row, Dr. Sridhar, Surendra Shetty, Akhtar Hussain, so many others, quite difficult to recognize that, remember their names, and particularly the students and young faculty of this university. As I said, this occasion brings back to my mind many pleasant memories, because the first time I met both Vinay Hegde and Sridhar Shetty was in 1989. When they were just, midst of their new colleges, if I remember correctly, the dental college and the engineering college. And I remember Sridhar Shetty and Hegde coming, and it was always a pleasure to meet them, even though we met for the first time. There is some kind of a chemistry possibly that worked, and I was impressed by the kind of commitment and dedication these two people had. And my first impression did not go wrong. Sridhar Shetty built up the dental college to a level which could be envied, and Vinay Hegde built up the university, which is an envy of many other deemed universities. And it so happens the kind of discipline that Sridhar Shetty exhibited then really amazed me. I thought he must be a terribly rough man on students. But later on I learned his roughness was born out of love and affection for students, which is visible today. That is why the old students have thought it fit to celebrate his kind of name every year, not just one day, and then too on 9th of July. And I was surprised when I was asked by the organizers, his old students, that 9th July I must come about 6 months in advance. I said, why 6 months, sir? 9th is important, it has to be only 9th. It can't be adjusted to your convenience, kindly adjust to 9th. Then I asked what was it? And it was a very pleasant thing for me to learn. It happens to be his birthday. Really, it is a great pleasure, and I must congratulate the students in particular, because these days we are getting into an era where human values are getting lost, and the students remembering their teacher with such affection and respect is something I am very pleased about, and I feel they deserve congratulations and wish this tradition of respecting and remembering teachers will continue. I have seen higher education starting from 1949, just then we had become independent. And higher education then was in a totally different setup. And you'll be surprised to know, universities were only examining bodies. If I remember correctly, in the 50s, the university strength was almost about 25, and maybe the colleges were somewhere about 60, 70, the whole of the country. And yet, a very interesting thing I still remember, an annual examination system, and you'll be shocked to know, a postgraduate examination and study, there was no syllabus, no curriculum. Anything under the sun they could ask. What occurs in the first paper can occur in the fourth paper. And imagine, you have to write 2 papers every day. In 2 days the examination is over. And what is your laboratory like? You are asked to do an experiment which you have never done. You are just given a book, do this experiment, find out the equipment you want, ask for it, do the experiment. And very, very amazing at the same time is, some of the experiments which the examiners themselves didn't know. But interestingly, things worked so well. The people who were trained under that system became the pioneer scientists of India today. That's the difference. And what is it we did? We did many developmental things. And why am I giving this background? There is a need for it. Because with the aim of improving education, have we done really the right thing? It is time to ask, because it is all in the Indian context. You know, higher education did not develop in the country. It was imposed in India, or on India, whichever way you put it. You may call Macaulay, you may call the Sargent report, it doesn't make any difference. Higher education is not an education evolved by India. It is a system given to us by the West. Interestingly, it was not meant to train people to think. Unfortunately for the rulers, and fortunately for India, some of the early people started thinking. Because there is a process which cannot be stopped, as doctors you would know. The brain has its own way of using the information it gets. But along with it came a very interesting phenomenon which still survives today, the affiliated colleges. We had 3 universities, one at Bombay, one at Calcutta, another at Madras, at Chennai today. And all the other institutions were affiliated colleges. Affiliation was extremely difficult. It was not as simple as it was today. And education was considered as a way to get along or up to the ladder of life, both economically and socially. And an educated person meant his dress, his food, everything should change. Only one thing they kept, is religion at home. Religious practices were kept to home, but outside practices became westernized. And this continued almost till 1980s with very small modifications here and there. We started experimenting with a semester system. We started experimenting with internal evaluation. One has to go back and ask for the various reports. You will be surprised to know, starting from Radhakrishna Commission report till today, the latest, you might have heard RUSA, that is Rashtriya Uchchatar Shikshana Abhiyan. We got into this craze, translating everything into Hindi. What it really means is, it is a mission to improve higher education. And for the first time, this mission is spread over a period of 2 years. Not 2 years, 2 5-year plans. Now we are in the 12th, 13th also it takes us. That means we are going on all the way for 10 years. And what is the money we are spending? 25,000 crores for each plan period. On whom? State universities and government colleges, a few aided colleges. And the most interesting thing that they have said there, which is relevant, that's why I wanted this to be brought in, is one of the recommendations of this RUSA is all autonomous colleges should become universities. Where affiliated colleges are weak, a group of affiliated colleges should form a university, one of which should be a lead college, a cluster university should be formed. What is the wisdom behind it? The wisdom is eliminate affiliated colleges, create only universities. What is the reason? Very interestingly, again it did not evolve in the country. Affiliated college was started for a different purpose. But we wanted universities because in the West you don't have affiliated colleges. I don't know how many of us are aware, affiliated colleges exist in only 3 countries in the whole world: Pakistan, India, and Bangladesh. That's all. Nowhere else you have affiliated colleges. What is the main characteristic of affiliated colleges? Very simple. They have no responsibility to frame syllabus. They have no responsibility to evaluate their students. They have no responsibility to fix admission criteria. Their responsibility is just to teach whatever curriculum is given by the university. Follow the university rules. As if this is not enough, one more thing came up. The national agencies like MCR, AICTE, Teachers Council, Nursing Council, I think almost a dozen of them came up. Why? The universities were not competent enough to really guide these colleges So colleges had the double problem. Satisfy the agencies, satisfy the universities. And then a kind of most unexpected thing that happened, which we have accepted without question, that is qualification equivalence. Who decides? UGC says these are recognized qualifications. These are recognized universities to give qualifications. Therefore we say qualifications are equivalent to competence. Don't ask how you get the qualifications. You know, the net result was nobody was interested in teaching. Nobody was interested in learning, but everybody was interested in getting the degree. Because degree was the sole thing. Nobody asked us, what is it you know? Even today, if you look at the appointment of professors in any university, you'll be shocked to know we don't appoint professors after he has been asked to give a lecture on the contributions he has made. He is supposed to be the highest authority in the subject. We just appoint him for so many considerations other than academic. Leave aside what happens to assistant professor. Why did we get into this? The tradition came up. Qualifications became more important. Competence was put on the back burner. And in between, one more change came up. That came up, just before I went to UGC as a UGC member. After Radhakrishna Commission's report, they were just thinking we should do something about it. And then came Ramurthy report on the All India Commission's report. They wanted some autonomy to be given to colleges. So autonomous colleges came. I had the opportunity of inspecting autonomous colleges. And I had the opportunity of inspecting deemed universities to be given a chairman of the committees in both the cases. Very interesting experiences I will share with you. Autonomous colleges are as good as deemed universities, except they don't have vice chancellor, registrar in the office. Otherwise, they have their own academic council, and they have their own governing council, and they have their own examiners. Everything, syllabus, everything is there. They are as good as deemed universities, except the degree is given by the affiliating university. Whereas deemed universities have the additional responsibility of having their own vice chancellor, own registrar, own everything. So, two interesting streams came up. And interestingly, the earlier deemed universities were getting grants by UGC. With the result, UGC had the full control over what they were doing, how they were doing, what fees to be charged. Fees were as good as government colleges. And they relaxed it. They said, in 90s, we changed it. Anybody can come forward and ask for a deemed university, we give it. It started, if I remember correctly, with Terry University. It became, they are in Solaryanadji and other things. It started with them. We today have a large number of deemed universities. As if that is not enough, the state universities have come into existence. It started in a big way by, Chhattisgarh. They started off scores of universities, and Supreme Court did the most beautiful thing. It also reflects, because quite often we think of education in isolation. To me it appears is a wrong perception. Education cannot be and should not be thought in isolation. Education is a part of society, and if I may say, it is a basis of society. A good society can result only when we have good educational institutions. Today, if we do not have good society, may I tell you, my perception is we do not have good educational institutions.